Class, it's Professor McGuire, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about the next assignment, the Differentiation and Diversity Slideshow. So let's get started on that. All righty. So I'm going to start off by talking to you a little bit about what differentiation is. I'm going to give you a few of my favorite ideas, and then I'll go over the assignment. So differentiation, it's a way for a teacher to respond to the variance among the learners that they may have in their classroom. And there's different ways that we can differentiate. We can differentiate the content, the process, and the product. Now, according to the student, that might be in readiness or interest, their learning profile. So some of the modifications that we would do in a classroom when we differentiate would be practice. And this is just how a teacher would deliver the instruction to the students. We also have process, and that's how the lesson is designed for the students. We have the product, that would be like that end result. That's the kind of work that the student would be asked to complete, that end product. We also have differentiation in content. So as far as reading might be concerned, it might be specific readings would vary depending on where the student is at. Maybe it could be with research or materials the students would study. Those are just a few examples. Another one would be assessment on how you as the teacher are going to measure what the student has learned. And then there could also be grouping that could be, physically rearranging the classroom or pairing students up. So these are just some ways to consider how you can differentiate your instruction. So for the purpose of this assignment, we are going to be differentiating for various grade levels, exceptional learners, and that could mean your gifted students and your students with special needs. These are students who have IEPs or some kind of accommodations. Our culturally diverse learners and our ELL learners. When we think about various grade levels, what I want you to be thinking about is this. It could very well be that you are teaching, say, ninth graders, but you've got students who are reading, say, at the fourth grade level. It's not uncommon. So how are you going to differentiate, even though they're in ninth grade, but they're reading at a much lower level? Same could be true for you're teaching ninth graders, but they're reading at a more advanced level. So when we say different grade levels, that's what we mean. I'm going to stop my video so you can see this. This is one of my favorite ways to differentiate, and that's with choice boards. Choice boards give the students at least two, usually more options for activities that they can complete. The teacher specifies what the choices are available, and then the student gets to choose what they want to do or what they don't want to do. So for example, this one, which is from Teachers Pay Teachers, it just says choose 3. So after you finish reading the short story or the novel chapter, complete 3 of the following tasks on a separate sheet of paper. So what this does is that it gives the student the choice. This is a fantastic way to differentiate. You can find things like this for free on Teachers Pay Teachers. Another one is similar. These are differentiation task cards. It's a set of cards with questions, activities. They can be used for a variety of things. You can reinforce the teaching concept, you can assess, and as they're called differentiation task cards, they're good for differentiated learning. And if you just take a quick glance at these, you can see that the task cards are written in a way that you as the teacher can purposefully select who you want to give them to. So this is really important if you know your students, and then you can give the card or the task card to each of the students specifically based on your knowledge of where they're at. This is just another example of task cards. A lot of times you can use these even as like a little exit ticket as well, so that they have some variation in the tasks that they're completing. Again, Teachers Pay Teachers, fantastic resource. Another one would be how you use the rubric. The rubric, of course, is just a tool for reinforcement. If you were to do maybe some independent reading. So this is how you would assess that the student is actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. But based on differentiation. It's really important with a rubric that you go over it in advance with your students so that they are also aware of how they're going to be assessed or graded. So now let's kind of shift gears. Those were a few of my favorite things, the task cards and the choice boards. Let's take a look at the assignment. So again, who are our diverse learners? We've got our various grade levels, which I already went over, our exceptional learners. Those are, at either end, and they will usually have an IEP or receive some kind of accommodations. We've got our culturally diverse learners and our English language learners as well. A lot of times those last two, they can be children who come to your classrooms. Maybe they're immigrants. Maybe they were refugees in another country. So there are a lot of things to consider when we want to differentiate for our learners. So what you need to do now is go to Halo and click on the Differentiation and Diversity slideshow. There is an attachment there. It looks like this on the left, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it as well so that you know what to expect. So it's a two-part assignment. Part one is that you are going to go to your benchmark unit. You're going to use that text. So whatever book that you used for all of those lesson plans and for that benchmark unit, that's the book, the text that you want to use. And I want you to choose one of your lessons that you think you could differentiate. Part two is that the slide deck, the slideshow that you're going to be creating is more for a professional learning experience, like a PLC, a professional learning community, a PD, a professional development. This is you presenting or talking to your colleagues. This is not a lesson plan that you would be doing for your students. This is like you teaching your colleagues how they could differentiate using the text of your choice. So again, you're going to pick the book from your benchmark unit, and then you're going to create a PowerPoint. You could do Prezi, you could do Canva, Google Slides. It'll probably end up being anywhere from 15 to 18 slides on differentiation. And again, each of the following must be addressed: the grade levels, exceptional learners, culturally diverse, and our ELL learners. So on slide number one, there are a couple of things you should have. This is, of course, in the instructions, but I'll go over it here too. You'll want your full name, the title of the book that you're using, put an image of the book jacket. You can just do a screenshot, the intended grade level, and then the date should be the due date for this assignment. On slide number two, you need to explain the concept of differentiation as how it relates to middle school or secondary literature instruction. Slide number three, you need to provide some insight into the role of the teacher and the role of the learner in differentiation. Slides 4 and 5, this is where you're going to provide an overview of how you as an English teacher can differentiate three things: the content, that's what is being taught, the process, how it's being taught, and the product, how you're going to measure that, how you're going to assess what was that final outcome. Now, slides 16 through 18, there's a lot of leeway in how you would be setting these up. So you're using the text from your benchmark unit, one of the lessons, and you're going to provide different strategies and explanations on how you would differentiate the reading content, process, and product for each of these. So for the various grade levels, we need to see content, process, and product. For your exceptional learners, your gifted or your special needs, how are you going to differentiate for them regarding the content, process, and product? Same thing for your culturally diverse learners, content, process, and product, and your ELL learners, the content, process, and product. On your final slide, you can have like an MLA style of list of works cited. I'm okay with it if it's just links to different sources that you've accessed or used. Also, again, keep in mind, this is not a lesson plan that you're using to teach students. This is more for a like colleague to colleague, as if you've been asked, say, on the Wednesday at the staff meeting to present on differentiation and how you do that in an ELA classroom. So think about it that way. Your slide deck should have some kind of graphics, color schemes, make it attractive. It should be organized, have headings, descriptions, bullets, etc., that kind of thing. There is a rubric. This assignment is worth 40 points. You can take a look at the rubric in Halo so that you know how you will be graded on this. And then kind of this last thing. So last thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your benchmark unit, review the lessons, take a look, which is one of them that you think would be best served as a way to demonstrate differentiation to your colleagues. Create that slideshow, making sure that you are addressing the different types of learners. Go over the instructions in Halo. I will, of course, put an exemplar in there. And then a little tip that I have found over the years. While you are making this as like a PowerPoint or Google Slides, you might need to save it as a PDF. Halo does not always accommodate such a rich document with all of the colors and maybe the screenshots that you would be submitting or you'd be embedding into the PowerPoint. So you might end up finding that Halo will reject it. So just go ahead and resave it as a PDF and upload it that way. The other thing, if you do it as Google Slide, you do have to give me permission to access that. So make sure that I can get into Google Slides. All right, hang on. Let me unshare that. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed this assignment. It's just kind of a spin-off of that benchmark that you've worked on all semester long. Think about how you would present this to your colleagues. Have fun with it. And as always, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me in the private forum. All right, have fun.